Hey friends! Tonight, as I'm doing dishes, I want to do the pros and cons of having homemade meals at home. And so tonight was one of the first nights that I had my kids actually help me make dinner. And it was so much fun. I've always enjoyed making dinner, but having them help me made it even that much more rewarding. So a big, huge pro for me is that mealtime isn't just about eating, it is about the family, and making it home makes memories and brings you closer together. Another big thing about the pros of making meals at home is you're saving a lot of money. I grew up in a family that we only went out to eat maybe 8 times a year at the very most. It wasn't very often. But then my husband grew up where he probably had either something like pizza delivery or something like that almost every week. So like there's a difference for sure. So we've had to compromise, and it's been a lot more expensive for us to be able to eat out for sure than staying home and eating. So that is a huge con for me about not eating at home. A pro is you're saving the money. Another pro is when you eat at home and you make a meal at home and you sit down as a family together, there's a lot of topics of conversation that we would never normally have time or take the time to have. Like my kids will ask us about our favorite music, or they might ask us about what happened when we were little, or what we like to play, as well as things that we can ask our kids, like what their favorite part of the day was. Or we always like to do something called the rosebud and thorn, where you tell your favorite thing as a rose about the day, your thorn as the hard part about the day, and the bud as something you hope to accomplish or do or look forward to for the following day. And mealtime is just really special because we have that time to do that. Another pro for making meals at home is you know what's going in your food. I used to work as a chef, and I realized that the more compliments I got on my food meant the more butter or fat or sugar I was putting into my food. So I didn't really care necessarily about the nutrients of the food as much as the compliments I was getting. So I think that we have to keep in mind that restaurants want to taste good a lot so that they bring back customers. And in order to taste good, sometimes they add things that aren't healthy for our bodies in excess. So that's a big con for me about eating out again. But a pro for sure of staying home is you know what's being put in your meal. Like tonight we had tortellini pasta with garlic bread and jalapeno poppers and bell pepper poppers. And it was everything that went into the meal was pretty much homemade. And I knew exactly how many calories pretty much I'd be consuming just by knowing what I'd put into my food. Another con for staying at home is the dishes and the cleanup. With 3 kids under the age of 5, my floor feels like it's never swept, even though I could sweep it 3 times a day, because there's so much food. Or I just barely washed the walls where my kids sit, and just gross. Or the table, you can see how the table just gets gross all the time. And that is just, it's a cleanup. It takes a long time for me to get everything cleaned up every day. So there's a few pros and cons. There's a lot more pros and cons on our blog if you want to check that out. It's prosandcons.com. I'll also put in the description the exact link for the pros and cons of making meals at home. I hope you have a great night. See ya, bye.